This is Gerard, and today we're going to be doing the best underdogs for UFC Louisville. We're doing something a little bit different here. Alex is traveling this week, so instead of a best bets video, I'm going to give you my best underdogs this week. So this is going to be in all honesty, this card I think is going to be it's a little harder for me to cap. I think a lot of these underdogs have a real shot at winning, more so than the recent past cards that we've seen a lot of favorites win. So for UFC Fight Night, Cannonier versus Imavov, my best underdog on this card is going to be Charles Radtke, moneyline versus Carlos Prates. I think Charles Radtke, he has a full MMA skill set. He can grapple, he can stand up and strike. And I like that he's very composed, and whether the fight goes ugly or gets on the boring side with a lot of feinting and just standing around and measuring, I think Radtke has the tools to turn this to win a fight that gets ugly, scrappy, or if it gets boring. I think Radtke can be a problem in the striking and the grappling. And he has the brains to use his well-rounded skill set depending on the matchup. And in this case, Carlos Prates, he's more of a Muay Thai striker. He's the most dangerous on the feet. I'm over here stuttering. He has the length, and he can keep it standing and in range. But I think Radtke, he changes his game plan depending on who he's fighting. We saw that against Mike Matheda, and in that fight he was just grappling him the whole time, basically for 3 rounds, won a unanimous decision. And then his last fight against a tall, lengthy but not as lengthy as Prates, Gilbert Urbina, who I had Urbina in that fight just because I thought he was the more dangerous fighter. And in this case, Prates is going to be the more dangerous fighter, but I actually do think Radtke has more ways to win in this fight. And yeah, I'm siding with the underdog here. I think Prates does have some danger past the first round. He can come back and win with a knockout. We saw that in his last fight against Trevin Giles, who I thought was winning the rounds up until getting slept in that second round. So I think this fight can look similar, or it kind of reminds me of possibly looking like a Kopylov versus Cesar Almeida from the last card in New Jersey. Yeah, I think Radtke has the tools and the IQ to target Prates' weaknesses in the grappling. Although I do think Prates has decent stand-up takedown defense. Prates is live for a KO, but I'm going to go with Radtke live for a submission, maybe even a TKO. I think Radtke can also win a decision here. So give me the money line on Radtke as the underdog, and that money line right now is looking plus 195, around a plus 195, around a plus 200. I think that's a good price on Radtke. Personally, I was able to get him at plus 210 earlier this week. So yeah, that's going to be my best underdog there. I think he'll be just the more well-rounded MMA fighter. And just like the Kopylov and Cesar Almeida fight, Kopylov was the more well-rounded MMA fighter. He used the grappling against Almeida, who was primarily a striker. So that's my best underdog for UFC Louisville. Now for my second fight, my second underdog, I'm a little less confident on this underdog, and that's going to be Reese beating Julian Marquez. So both of these guys are coming off losses. In all honesty, I think Reese's loss was a little bit fluky. he got slammed on his head and got TKO'd against Cody Brundage. Yeah, this fight, Zach Reese is going to have the height, the reach advantage. He has great size for this division. I think he is live for getting a TKO or a submission. Even though he's still unproven, I still think we haven't seen enough of Zach Reese to call him a bust in the UFC. And he's facing Julian Marquez, who, in my eyes, he looks very hittable. He throws with a lot of power, but he's kind of reckless at times when he's getting that aggressive. And I think Zach Reese is going to have the length and he's going to have a much easier, straightforward game plan, I think, to fighting Julian Marquez. I think Marquez trying to figure out Zach Reese is going to be a much harder task with that length and that submission threat of his. And Zach Reese can also find a TKO in the stand-up. I just think Julian Marquez has been eating a lot of damage in his recent losses. He is looking older. He's only 34, but still, I think he might be towards on his way out of the UFC. And I think Zach Reese this might be the fight that Zach Reese gets a win and starts to build up his resume in the UFC. Yeah, I have Zach Reese on this one. Yeah, it could be a finish. I can see a Zach Reese finish, whether it's TKO or submission. I'm probably leaning more on the submission side. But yeah, Zach Reese is my pick there. That's my second underdog. And now for my final underdog on UFC Louisville, we have the fan favorite Raul Rosas Jr. facing Ricky Turcios, Pretty Ricky. So I'm going to stick to my original breakdown of this back at UFC Mexico. Obviously, the altitude is not going to be here now, but I'm going to have to go with the veteran in this matchup. Even though we do have Rosas as our intro on Pure Picks in this video, yeah, I'm going with Pretty Ricky. And I will say I'm a little bit biased here. I am Filipino, and I am going to be rooting for the Filipino fighter. I think he's half Filipino here, Ricky Turcios. And yeah, I think he's just going to have the greater volume and pressure in this fight. I know Rosa's going to come out quick and explosive. He's going to be very dangerous in the first round. I do think Turcios lacks some power, but he's very scrappy. He's very durable. He has so much experience going all 3 rounds. And I think this is will give Turcios the best chance to win, is to get Rosas tired past that first round, that first onslaught that we always see Rosas come out with. The only question here for Rosas is if he is going to be game for all 3 rounds. Is he going to slow down in the second and third round, possibly gas out against Turcios, who's constantly getting scrappy, throwing the pressure, throwing that volume? Even though he's not the most accurate striker, he's always on you. He doesn't stop. Now, we haven't seen Turcios being finished, I don't believe. Let's see here real quick. So he has decision losses. So he has lost once via a finish, punches, back in 2018. But yeah, he's been winning. He's been winning. His only loss was against a very game vet, Ayman Zahabi. I think Turcios very game here, especially at these odds. Let's look at the odds here. We have Turcios right now at a plus 184, around a plus 190, plus 185 range, depending on your bookie. But yeah, obviously I am biased here, but I'll take my chances on Turcios at plus 185. If I see it higher, that I think it's a decent enough underdog play here. Yeah, it's just the question on if the 19-year-old Rosas can go the full 15 minutes at a good pace, good output. And yeah, and we know what we're gonna get from Tercios. Rosas is kind of, it fluctuates from fight to fight, and he's gonna be facing another veteran here. So let's see if he can prove it. Those are my underdogs here. We will be posting our bets tomorrow. We will be live streaming Friday before Saturday, before the fight night. So we will be live streaming all of our Pure Picks, which is usually reserved for Pure Picks Pro members. So usually you have to be a pro member. This week we're gonna have it on a live stream out for free just this week. We'll see how things go. This is gonna be our first live stream for real. So it should be fun. We're gonna have all our picks. James, Alex, myself, we're gonna be just bouncing around ideas, finding the best picks for UFC Louisville. So yeah, look out for that tomorrow. We'll be doing that tomorrow. So yeah, that's about it. You can always join the membership, and as always, like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. And let me know, do you want to see more of these underdog best bets videos? And yeah, catch y'all in the next one.